You're too kind. Is TikTok to blame when your kid goes insane? And will big tech pay the price for treating our kids like laboratory mice? Well, several school districts are suing social media giants, alleging they're contributing to a mental health crisis among our nation's youngest, most impressionable minds. Some educators are so upset over this, they've stopped hitting on their students. Seattle public schools took time off from calling everything racist and filed the first lawsuit back in January, arguing social media companies designed and marketed their sites to attract minors. Seattle schools said media companies should instead teach kids the basics, like how to make a Molotov cocktail. Most recently, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, filed a suit against TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube. Officials there are claiming those platforms actually encourage youth addiction and have exploited developing minds without consequence, exchanging our children's mental well-being for billions in ad revenue. In a statement at Fox News, Meta, previously Facebook, said it's developed more than 30 tools to support teens and families. So do I, actually. This from Mark Zuckerberg, who named his initial creation Face Mash, a hot or not game that allowed visitors to compare two students' faces side by side and let them decide who was more attractive. So trusting him with your teens, I don't know, would be like trusting Hunter Biden to get your laptop fixed. Dr. Drew, you're a doctor, or so you claim. What do you think? Can you blame this on the social, what's happening?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, let me ask you a different question. What are the symptoms? What is this causing?
So the most obvious manifestations are in younger females, teenage girls: depression, suicide, overall anxiety, depression, substance use. It is a disaster for young people's mental health. And then COVID put that all on steroids, as you say, not the fun kind.
Yes.
And the schools sent kids home with pads, with electronic pads. Exposure to porn went up, sexting went up, distress went up. It is out of control. There's everything you read that's being alleged is categorically true. I don't know how they get out from under this, because we will one day look at the screens where we look at tobacco, for sure.
Now so you're talking, that cat, did you hear what he said? He complained to smoking. Now you could say that we do ban smoking and alcohol for children, but does it work? I mean, should we be doing that with social media? Is social media like an actual substance that the teen ingests?
Yeah, I don't know if it works. I don't know if you're able to actually do that, if it's going to be available to keep kids from going on it. I mean, I did smoke a cig before I was 18.
Me too.
Yeah, like it's not. My parents were very strict, but they couldn't keep me and cigs away all the time. So I think that it's still possible. It's about parents. I mean, I never had to deal with cyberbullying growing up. I deal with it now. And like the people, it's like I didn't deal with it as a kid, but now I'm being cyberbullied by people old enough to be these kids' grandparents or even my grandparents.
Did it ever occur to you that those are the wives of the older men that you just thanked?
Yeah. I love you too, wives. Don't listen to what your husband says. I don't know. But some of them are. There's this one guy named Dan who just says horrible things about me every single night. He never has other plans. So he's a bully and a loser.
Wow.
But I think, so it's parents, they need to like pay attention to what their kids are doing online, yes, but also like what kind, maybe are you being jerks? Do your kids see you being jerks online? Because if they see you being a jerk, maybe they think it's okay for them to be jerks.
It's not just the being jerks part. This part of it is also, again,
Yeah, we need to sue all the hot people. So
well, there's that. It's the comparing, it's the sexting, it's the porn exposure, and it's what porn exposure now average age is like 9 or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's super crazy.
That's crazy.
Well, I didn't have a cell phone growing up, but I had a bit of a dirty childhood.
Yes.
Except it was different. You couldn't pick up a phone. You'd have to go into the woods and find that little stack of pornos.
Yes.
That somebody left, and then you and your friends would do things and never acknowledge it again to each other. That's what it was like.
Until you're on TV in front of millions of people.
Oh, yeah, guess what I used to do when I was a boy? Yeah, and they all know that.
It was more of a challenge. Those were the adventurous days when we were a young PAB. So we're learning that children are also obsessed with status. Like, it's another thing. Like, for example, when I was growing up, I had no idea what my neighbors' parents did for a living, how much money they had, if they had a swimming pool. I didn't know. I was friendless, alone, sad, but I didn't know. I didn't know people were having a better time than me. But if there was Instagram, I would know everybody was having a better time. That would drive me nuts.
Yes, absolutely. I'd say ignorance is bliss. And when I was growing up, there were probably parties that I wasn't invited to. And, sometimes you'd get a sense that maybe there were things you were missing, but you never really knew for sure. And now you know for sure. And it isn't just the kids who are damaged by that. I know a lot of people my age who are just, they see something on Facebook. Oh my gosh, all of my friends got together and I wasn't invited. I mean, it's very hurtful to all ages. But when it comes to the kids, the comparison to smoking, I think, is accurate because they were arguing back then that they were manipulating the nicotine to make it maximally addictive, the same way they say they're manipulating social media. They've studied the brain and figured out how to get you to keep going and going on it, and they're supposedly doing it on purpose. But it goes back to the question of how do you stop it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say that the in person, emphasizing humans in space, flesh meeting is really important because that's what makes people healthy. More time on the screen, less emotional healthy.
But Jim, shouldn't these kids just grow up?
Attaboy, Greg. That's parents.
I mean, stop whining.
Parents are the blame. You know what I mean? Like they're spoiled. Like when I was a kid, if I got a math question wrong, I got burned with a cigarette or hit across the teeth with a phone. But then I made sure I studied my math.
Yes, there you go. And now, you should thank your parents.
I do, often. Sometimes I'll call my mom, and I'll look at a scar, and I'll go, thanks, Mom. You're welcome. She'll go, who is this?
Jim, I told you never to call me.
Yeah, so I think part of it is the parents, too.
Yeah, there you go.
An old man and say,
Boy, it's everybody's fault.
Yep.
All right. Up next, Florida's had enough of jerks who want to puke and twerk.